What's going on, everybody? By popular request, I'm making a quick video on how to do some DeFi incentive farming on Katana, specifically Sushiswap. I got a lot of requests when I posted that I'm earning, well, now about $150, $160 a day from my DeFi setup. So I want to make a quick video to show you guys how you can set up something similar. I'll show you guys the basic setup, and then I'll show you guys my setup, which I think is a little more advanced and perhaps needs more capital. Depends on who you are, actually. So let's get started. So if you guys are unfamiliar, there's a new chain that has launched, and it's called Katana. And on that chain, their DEX is Sushiswap. So this was kind of a big competitor of Uniswap back in the day. It's a pretty well-known and pretty big DEX. I'd say it's the second largest if you're comparing, between Uniswap and Sushiswap. And with a new chain and a new launch of this chain, there's always incentives to bring liquidity to the chain. So if you're looking at Sushiswap right now, and you were to click the Explore tab, you can see it's growing in TVL. And there is a farms only tab, and this, if you sort it by APRs, is where you can find the juiciest of APRs, where both Katana and Sushi are rewarding their tokens if you partake in liquidity provision, which is putting your assets on the DEX for people to trade. So when you're looking at this list, yes, there are some really juicy high ones, but some of these have a lot of impermanent loss. So my personal favorite is to go for ones that are the same pair. I won't get too much into that, but just kind of ride with me on this one. So BTCK, LBTC, this is the pool that we're going to be focusing on today, is a great one. This one is a great one as well. Stablecoin one, two stablecoins is also very great. There's an ETH one that's great. There's a Solana one that's great. All of these are great and giving some pretty juicy APRs with very little, if any, impermanent loss. There really shouldn't be any. So anyways, like I said, we're going to be going into the BTC LBTC pool. Now, just so you guys know, this pair is actually both run by Lombard Finance, someone I'm very bullish on and actually an ambassador for. So, but this isn't a paid gig by any chance. This is just me sharing on the request. So anyways, we're going LBTC and BTCK hitting 65% APY. So you need to get funds on Katana. And you can do that by by clicking this add funds. Now, depending on how much you want to do and if you care about slippage, I actually like using the native bridge. It takes about 20 minutes for your funds to get there, but there is no slippage. So the exact amount that you send is the exact amount that you're going to receive. And I would, if you're sending over ETH, you can. Do not send LBTC through this. I've learned that it'll come out as a different token and you'd have to bridge it back. Use the Lombard bridge to get to Katana if you're going to bridge LBTC. Everything else, use the native bridge. So glad I got that over. You have funds over. And now you need to set up an LP pool. You're going to need to swap some of your LBTC into BTCK, but let's find out how much first. So when you go here, so again, we're going explore. You can put LBTC here to filter out. We're going for the LBTC BTCK pool. You click add liquidity. I have a position, but imagining I didn't have a position, I'd go click create position. And you're given this. Now, right now, it's almost a 50-50 split where you could then contribute your BTC and LBTC pretty evenly. Now, with this default split, it's plus or minus 0.1%. This is for like keeping in range. Because the two assets are the same, you can actually keep these a lot tighter. I mean, right now, you have about a 2,000 capital efficiency, which means as far as fee generations, you're actually like at 1,000% APR, which is crazy for just fees, or 1,000% efficiency. I don't really know how that math is calculated, to be honest, but you can actually keep it a little tighter. If you're wondering about my pool, I have about 0.04% on each side. It always acts a little janky like that, so try to get it at 0.4 on each side. Come on. Sometimes I zoom out or zoom in. Maybe it'll give me a little more freedom and flexibility. I don't totally understand every single there we go, got it. Every single protocol does that. So this is my kind of split, 5,000 x capital efficiency. I haven't been knocked out of these pools. And then I put in my BTC and LBTC, my BTCK and LBTC, my Bitcoin. And in this case, you'll see that there's a little more LBTC than there is BTCK, but that's totally fine with me. So once your position is set, you kind of just park it and you start earning rewards. It's kind of that simple. If you go on Merkl, so app.merkl, MERKL.xyz, you can actually monitor your rewards. Now, small caveat that should have mentioned at the beginning, CAT tokens cannot be traded yet. Looking at their docs, they said February will be the latest that you'll be able to trade them, but it might be sooner. So it is on an estimated value that the tokens are going to be 10 cents each. Sushi, you can claim and swap and move around as you like right away. So a percentage of your funds are going to be in Sushi, or your rewards are going to be in Sushi, and some of it's going to be in CAT. And then you can just, once you claim here, it'll send you to Katana, or it'll just claim it for you on Katana. And that's really it. This is the pool I'm using. That's the range I have it in, and then you can start rewarding. Now, I know the scary part is that you might have noticed that my position size is $25,000, which I don't think most people have to, play around with DeFi or have hanging around. So this is kind of where my advanced setup comes in, because of this 25,000, actually only 8,000 of it is actually mine, and 17,000 of it is borrowed. Now, this again is a little more advanced DeFi, so I don't suggest you to do this. I suggest just doing the basic setup, get some funds over, put your pair in, and get started. But for just an advanced, just sort of looking at slightly more advanced and how I see DeFi and how I'm using DeFi, and a little bit of my thoughts and theory, is to use a platform called Aave, which is a borrowing and lending platform. Now here, I have 0.3 LBTC, so Bitcoin, locked in Aave or deposited in Aave. And this is my collateral that I'm able to borrow money from. My goal in mind is to get this to 1 Bitcoin. So I want to keep growing my collateral so I'm able to borrow more and more money, because the more valuable this is, the more assets I'm able to borrow, or the more amount of assets I can borrow. So right now I can still borrow up to 8K more. If I doubled this, I'd be being able to borrow probably like 25K more. So with this setup, I've actually borrowed 2 tokens. I do not suggest borrowing USDT. I'm just not even going to suggest it at all, because you can get liquidated. But borrowing Bitcoin gets a little interesting, because the borrowing APY, so that the cost to borrow, is 0.22%. And I did a quick maths on this. I think this is going to be like 10 cents a day. It cost me 10 cents a day to borrow $8,000 of Bitcoin. Where's that $8,000 of Bitcoin going? It's going to my position. And I'll tell you right now, 8,000 Bitcoin is 1/3 of this, which is around $50 a day. So if you think about it, I'm borrowing Bitcoin for 10 cents a day, and I'm farming $50 a day of Bitcoin. That difference obviously is profit in my pocket for when I return this Bitcoin. So this is leveraging borrowing capabilities to get more money, and using that money to find arbitrage opportunities where the cost of borrowing is much less than the reward of using the funds. With those extra funds, I'm gonna, of course, pay back this loan, keep the extra, and actually grow my LBTC stack. As this grows, I'll be able to then borrow some more and kind of keep the cycle. Just so I don't leave you guys hanging, the USDT I've used, this is pure leverage. I've used it to also buy Bitcoin. Now, what's worrying about this is if Bitcoin's price goes down, then this actually starts eating up my loan. It reduces my, it doesn't eat up my loan, but it puts my health factor at risk, and I might have to liquidate some positions myself, or I'll get forced into liquidations. That's why I don't suggest borrowing stablecoins yet, because that is leveraging. But borrowing Bitcoin with your Bitcoin is a new almost phenomenon as Bitcoin 5 is increasing. I'll leave it at that. It was a little scrambled. We're going with one take with it. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, drop them below. I'll be happy to answer them. Cheers, everybody.